Hello everyone, I'm Dear One from Xinhua News Agency. For most people, nothing impacted us more than the sudden rampage of the COVID-19 pandemic this year. This still hops the headlines worldwide in 2020. With permanent recovery remaining elusive, its impact still affects the world in the coming year, if not longer. This unprecedented global public health crisis has wreaked havoc. The scale of its impact, the massive losses, and the scale of the difficulty of virus control and prevention are rarely seen throughout human history. So far, over 80 million positive cases have been registered globally. The world economy has plunged into a deep recession, with an estimated drop of 4.4% this year. Facing the common enemy of COVID-19, people have increasingly come to realize that we're living in a community with a shared future for mankind, and that only through unity and cooperation can we prevail over the pandemic. Now let's hear from Chen Junxia, Xinhua correspondent in Geneva.
The World Health Assembly, WHO's decision-making body, opened its first ever virtual session here on May 18, calling for unity and equitable access to vaccines and medications among all nations. China has sincerely cooperated with WHO and the international community and has launched the largest emergency humanitarian operation since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949.
Thank you, Junxia. With the strategic guidance of Head of State Diplomacy, China has been engaging in cloud diplomacy by way of phone calls, correspondence, and video conferences, promoting cooperation and proposing China's plan. This injects confidence and impetus into the world. Under the backdrop of the pandemic, the value of building a community with a shared future for mankind has been further demonstrated. The vision has also been further enriched and gained wider recognition by the international community. On September the 21st, the UN held a high-level meeting to commemorate its 75th anniversary, during which its members adopted a declaration to stress the significance of multilateralism and international cooperation. The opinions demonstrated by various sides at the meeting reflected an international consensus on deepening the reform of the global governance system. When it comes to the keywords of this year's international news, some of them are worth mentioning. The first one, change. On August the 28th, Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe suddenly announced his resignation due to illness. Despite the change of command, the Japanese political arena is not turning its back on Abe's policies. His successor Yoshihide Suga promised that he will continue Abenomics to revive the economy. The second keyword, conflict. Armenia and Azerbaijan fought new clashes in Powderkak, Nagorno-Karabakh region in September and failed to declare a complete ceasefire until November, underlining the brittle balance of global geopolitics. The third keyword, division. On May the 25th, African-American George Floyd died after a white police officer knelt on his neck for nearly 9 minutes. His death has triggered prolonged, large-scale protests against racism and police brutality across the United States. Facts have shown that over the years in the United States, white supremacy has prevailed. Racial conflicts have been difficult to reconcile, and social divisions have widened, all of which laid bare the U.S. human rights malady of systematic racism. Now let's hear from Tan Yixiao, Xinhua correspondent in Washington, D.C.
This year in the United States, we have witnessed demonstrations, protests, riots, and all kinds of conflicts highlighted under the magnifying glass of the presidential election.
Thank you, Yixiao. The fourth keyword, breaking up. The divorce between Britain and the European Union has been delayed from the beginning of the year to the end of 2020, when the deal has finally been sealed. Now let's hear from Jin Jing, Xinhua correspondent in London.
4.5 years after the 2016 Brexit referendum, an agreement was reached just a week to go before the Brexit transition period ends on December the 31st, 2020. It covers not just trade in goods and services, but also a broad range of other areas such as investment and data protection, creating the basis for a new chapter in their relationship.
After all, Britain and the EU have reached a deal on their post-Brexit trade relations right before Christmas. The British Parliament would still need to ratify the deal by the end of the year before it can be implemented on January the 1st, 2021. Despite a tumultuous year, we'll close with something inspiring. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, or the RCEP, was officially signed on November the 15th. As a landmark achievement of East Asian regional cooperation, the agreement will largely enhance the liberalization and facilitation of regional trade and investment and reduce commodity tariffs and investment thresholds, which will benefit us all in the foreseeable future. With the new year approaching, may the rays of hope dispel the haze of gloom. The chorus of unity resonate loud and wide. Together, let's wish for a better tomorrow.